Hello, my name is Tony Wilson. I'm a storyteller and a musician, and this is where I live, in a place called South Shields, and I'll show you some of the places in South Shields in just a moment. Now, we are very lucky because where we live there used to be a Roman fort, and when we go out of the house every day, just look outside, I'll show you what we can see. We get to see this. This is the street that we live in, and as you can see, it is right beside this Roman fort. Now, I did say that there used to be a fort here. Well, this one that you can see is a reconstruction, and we can guarantee that we'll get to see it every day. Just look over the top of the fence. Open all of the time, all year round, and you can see the ruins. When I was a little boy, I couldn't understand when they said that this was a place that they had the Romans living, and all you had were the ruins, which were less than half a metre high. And as a child, I always thought, how could the Romans live if all they had was walls that had no roofs, and wouldn't really keep the wind off them? But I've learned better since. This reconstruction of the Mile Fort was made, I think, about sort of 25 years ago, and it's one of two in the whole of Europe. The other one's in Germany. So this is what I saw when I was a young boy, all of these ruins of the walls. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of excavation still going on. All of the tunnelling that was underneath the floors so that they could have underfloor heating. Some bathhouses over there. And there's the actual rebuilt Roman Mile Fort. I'll just walk towards it. We're very proud of our Roman history. Quite an impressive building. People travel from all over the world to come and see this. A rebuilt Roman fort. Upstairs for guard duty. So here we have a reconstruction, a model of what the fort would have looked like nearly 1600 years ago. So what you've just seen is a reconstruction of that part of the model there. And now we're at the top. See the River Tyne in the distance. That's where all the ships would come in. I play the banjo. this instrument, which is called a mandolin or a mandola. It sounds like this. I live in a place called South Shields, which the nearest city to that is a place called Newcastle upon Tyne, and I'm sure there's a few of you who have heard of Newcastle United from the Football League. It's down by the side of the sea, and when I was in South Shields, I was born here, by the way. I was born in South Shields and I now live in South Shields. I play this thing, which is called a 5-string banjo because it has 5 strings. Sounds like this. I play the ukulele. Ever since I was a child, I was involved in music. When I was at the church, I would sing in the choir. And then when I was a teenager, I became very interested in music and started playing lots and lots of different instruments and singing, which is what I do now in between being a storyteller. I play the guitar. I played the electric guitar. I've been a storyteller for about 20 years, although my mother would tell me that even when I was a baby, I would be sitting in the pram and burbling, so blah, 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 like that, as if I was telling a story. I was very lucky. My parents and my sister and my grandparents all told me stories when I was very young. After playing music for a long time and looking after my own children, I became a teacher. Oh no, not another teacher. I used to teach very young children and children up to the age of about 18. So I was very used to being in front of children and telling them stories and teaching them. And I even taught teachers. And on this tour, at the beginning of the tour, I'm going to be working in Lima with about 50 teachers at a time. So this is the street that I was born on in 1953, quite a long time ago, I know, but as you can see, that's the actual street where they've got the children's park. That's where my house used to be, but they pulled the house down in that time. As you can see, it's houses that were like flats. It would be one room at the front of the house and one room at the back of the house. And that had everything in it, bedrooms and everything, all in that one place. When I was little, and this is going to make me feel very old indeed, we didn't always have green fields to play in. At the back of the houses, they would have what was known as a back lane. And that back lane would be like a back alley, and you'd be able to sort of like play in that place. So this is where I used to spend a lot of my time when I was a very young child, playing at the back of the house, because it was safer. There weren't that many cars around. We still had horses and carts, and if you hear in the background you can hear some noise. Well, we used to have the noise of them building ships when we were very little. We could still hear the ships being built on the other side of the River Tyne. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me or not, but I live right by the side of the River Tyne, a very wide and a very busy river. Ferries and all kinds of industry that comes through here. important in the coal industry about 150 years ago, but it's now sort of it's still busy, still very busy indeed, with lots of different things. Now on this side, this is called South Shields, and on that side, that's called North Shields. Now the story goes that the people who lived by the mouth of the river had houses that were called shields. So the people who lived on the north side over there, they were North Shields, and on this side it was called South Shields. Very windy. So we're heading now towards the main shopping centre in South Shields. A few facts about the place. There's about 200,000 people live here in South Shields. It's been established ever since Roman times. This park I'm walking through is the park that I was married in to my gorgeous wife Anne, and there's all kinds of history within South Shields. We're just coming up to where there's a very old church. You'll probably be able to see it just coming up there on the side. That's called St Hilda's Church, and a war memorial for those people who fought and died in the 2 world wars. So here we are, almost in the centre of town. See, it's quite busy. That's the library behind me. That's the old town hall that dates back to about the 18th century. And you can see the marketplace. Now, the marketplace isn't on today. It's usually only on the weekends. But I think, like a lot of places in the world, England is going through a bit of a recession at the moment. So a lot of the high street shops have closed, and everything seems to be costing more. But that's just the way of the world. So here we go through the park. You can see the church behind me. So the self-righting lifeboat was invented here in South Shields, and this is one of the first lifeboat stations that there was. And in the distance you can see that there's the mouth of the Tyne, and out there past the piers and past the lighthouses, that's the North Sea. On the other side of the river there in North Shields, you can see that there's a castle. It's Tynemouth Priory. You can see all of the houses and flats. So now we're getting closer and closer to the shoreline here in South Shields. We call this the Little Sands, because just on the other side there's the Big Sands. You can probably hear a lot of wind. Well, that's pretty much the way that it is here a lot of the time. Quite windy, quite cold, and if the sun does come out, then it tends to cover the beaches with what's known as a sea fret, which is basically a cloud that is formed by evaporation down by the side of the sea. So you don't really get the benefit by the side of the sea. But with climate change, we have had some spectacular summers, usually in February. There you can see the pier, the South Pier. You might just be able to see that the North Pier is just flashing. So this is the North Sea. So I have quite an unspoiled beach here. When I was a child, this beach would be full all of the time. They used to hire tents and chairs, and you wouldn't be able to see the sand for people sitting on it, all drinking cups of tea, believe it or not. Have a look. Yeah, that wind. And by the way, the water is very cold, not just slightly cold. If you were to jump into it, it would take your breath away. So that's the northeast coastline. we were children, we went down to the beach, we'd have to walk our way down, all the way down all these steps, all these stairs, and in the background you can probably hear that there are some seagulls. It's quite a mixture of different seagulls, and this is one of the great sights of South Shields. It's called a sea stack. It used to be attached to the land, but all of the land eroded away, so it left like a stack, like a pillar, right in the middle. You'll see that there's quite a few of these down by the side of the sea, made out of limestone. And those ones that you can hear going, kittiwake, kittiwake. They're quite well-known birds. You'll find them all over the world. They're called kittiwakes. So we would walk down here, ready to go down by the side of the beach, all the way down. That's the lift that you can catch if you want to go down and you don't want to walk down the steps. This is a very famous pub that they have in South Shields, built into the rock face of the cliff. Some people say it was for smugglers and those people who would take things and steal them and hide them down by the side of the sea. We're nearly down. As you can see, it's probably a little bit different to the other beach that you saw. Quite rocky, covered all over with stones. And we do have fantastic beaches here in the northeast. And the reason why we have fantastic beaches in the northeast is because we have terrible weather that smashes the rocks together and breaks them down and makes them into sand. So there's another pillar over there. You can see all of the seagulls circling around. This is a place called Marsden. So even on a school day, still quite a lot of people here. There's Marsden Rock, and there you can see another of the sea stacks. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be here in South Shields on the northeast coast of England. All of the things that you can see and what it's like. I know I've taken my coat off, but going up and down those steps a couple of times, that can make you quite warm. Hope you've enjoyed this, and it'll be a pleasure to see you all. Bye, adios y ciao. So this is one of the reconstructed Roman buildings. This is where the guards and some of the commandants would have their food prepared. And you're allowed to touch things and move things and use them. They really do want you to have a look and touch everything that's in here. So here you can see a bed, quite spacious, a candle in the corner. I believe that's Mercury, one of the gods. So as you can see, they've taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to make it look just the way that it would have looked all of those centuries before. this would be the office. The portrait of some of the people who lived here, or relations. And a bedroom. I do love this room, because here you've got a small cot as well at the side of the bed, all very authentic. And this is where the commanding officer would sleep, in a fine bed. I've done videos like this when we were in Machu Picchu, so it seems appropriate to do it for my hometown. So this is where there would be a meeting room where people would sit and talk and eat. Yes, I am going to walk back up. Here we go. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is somebody old walking upstairs. About halfway now. Only another 400 steps to go. Still going.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Good, good. You just visiting?
Please, picture.
There you go. Big breath.